things just took a surprising turn for the Florida Panthers. Multiple shocking updates on several different players. We already know Brad Marchand had multiple injuries. Now things are coming out about Sam Reinhart. Did Matthew Tkachuk return too early? Well, Paul Maurice is not thrilled about what he's hearing. I'm going to tell you everything there is to know about these three players and more on this episode of Panthers Digest, guys. I'm your host, Greg Andrews. As always, hit that subscribe button, comment, like, share, hype up the video. I do appreciate it. Again, comment down below, ask questions. I will answer it for you in the next video. Well, it's not pretty. A lot of things are coming out, surfacing about the Florida Panthers who did play overseas in the Milano Cortina Olympics. Many players, it seems, were battling injuries. How severe? Well, things are starting to come out right now in certain reports. Like I said, multiple insiders across multiple channels from Yahoo Sports Canada, Yahoo Sports here in the United States, insiders close to the Panthers organizations, reputable individuals in the industry that follow the NHL and follow the Panthers have been reporting on this. Jeff Marek, I've already told you this, and this is also Elliotte Friedman as well. They talked about before the Olympics what players would return and be able to play for their teams and what players were probably playing hurt, knowing this could be their last opportunity to play in the Olympics. Medal. So they'll push it to the limit to try to get that medal, and doesn't matter how they're feeling when they go overseas. I just said Sam Reinhart, Brad Marchand, Matthew Tkachuk. The question was, Matthew Tkachuk's return looked okay, a little shaky here and there, but at the Olympics, he didn't really look like the same Matthew Tkachuk we've seen of old. Brad Marchand looked a step slow. He had to miss some time at the Olympics and was missing a ton of time with the Florida Panthers this season, dealing with two separate injuries. He played one game on February 4th, I believe it was, or February 5th against the Boston Bruins and had that shootout winner. Looked okay, but at the Olympics, he looked a step slower. Didn't look like the Brad Marchand that we knew from the beginning of the season. So this was on February 5th or 6th, I believe. Fan Hockey Show. Elliotte Friedman saying he's beginning to think that if it's true, he's wondering if there's guys holding on by a thread to get over to the Olympics. And then when they get back, they're going to be getting shut down. Let them play, do their thing. They want to win a medal, okay, especially with the Florida Panthers, because where they sit right now, at the very bottom of the Atlantic Division, 8 points out of the wild card, have a ton of games in a very short period of time, 25 games, 49 days. I've already said this in yesterday's episode. There's a lot of pressure on this team, and what they're going to attempt to do if they want to keep everybody out on the ice and not cut anybody and shelve them for the season, it's going to be a massive mountain to climb. Let's keep moving forward, guys. So he questioned whether or not players will return back into the lineup from the Olympics. And right now, Paul Maurice did say he's not going to play any of his guys that came back from the Olympics in terms of practicing, but he will put them in the game against Toronto on Thursday. But who are we going to see in the lineup? That's the biggest question. Not a lot's coming out from Paul Maurice or the Florida Panthers themselves, but there's a lot of reporting on what are the things that are happening behind closed doors for the Florida Panthers players. Again, the hockey news. Possible injury concerns arise as Florida Panthers players return from the Olympics. David Pagnotta, another guy, and Brad Marchand. This is the biggest warning sign, I think, for all of us, and it's a worry. And I'm thinking that Brad Marchand will probably not be playing anymore. There's chatter that maybe surgery is looming for him. I don't know if that's going to be something now or if it's something that's going to be done in the offseason. Again, I don't know. We don't know how he feels, how he's playing. He did not play every single game in the Olympics. Neither did Sam Reinhart, and we'll get into that in just a moment. Not as much as he had played in the role that he took in the Four Nations last year. I mean, he was very important to the Canadians in that game. And then in this Olympics, he didn't play nearly as much as I feel like he should have been out there. Yeah, he was out there on the power play unit, but his time on ice was significantly less than last season in the Four Nations and in just the other games outside of the gold medal game. So questions linger here. And obviously this is from Oilers Nation. I'm sure they would love to see Brad Marchand out. So here we go. I'm just going on this again. Another network, another outlet is reporting that Brad Marchand injury news after the Olympics. Things we've got to be worried about. The organization is worried. Obviously, with his age and everything, I don't know. Should they shelve him for this season and say, hey, let's just get him healthy for next season, see how everybody else does? But the question remains as well for Matthew Tkachuk and Sam Reinhart, too, if they were not really ready for the Olympics, playing through something, just going because they want to try to win the gold. Again, another outlet going out saying Brad Marchand injury concerns grow after the Olympic final. Analyst says season is in doubt. Here are his numbers. If he's out, guys, huge loss for the Cats. And again, questions remain. Do we still want to keep playing for this season to make the playoffs when we are just riddled with injuries up and down this lineup? Do we bench guys? If he has surgery and he goes in LTIR, again, it frees up cap space. Do we become sellers? Questions I'm going to be asking you guys. Do you think they should shelf the season, try to sell, see what they can get, work the salary cap, make some impressive moves, maybe get some draft capital? Again, I'm going to ask this question in just a moment. So, Brad Marchand. Now we have Sam Reinhart. Okay? This is something where I don't know what has been going on with this team. Again, these guys are really ambitious. If they're hurt, they're still going to play. If they're injured, obviously they're not. But it's the Olympics. It's every 4 years. I know some guys say they prefer a medal over the Stanley Cup, but I think more guys prefer the Stanley Cup over a medal. But if you've already won it and you don't have a medal, a gold medal especially, you're going to want to play in the Olympics, and it's once every 4 years. So you don't get that many opportunities to play for your country when you were called up to say, hey, we want you out there to come with us to the Olympics, especially when NHL players haven't played in the Olympics for how many countless years of not of the Olympics being had. I think it was 2014 was the last time. So, or 2014, I believe. So Sam Reinhart, that's going to be the biggest question too, is what is he going to do? Reinhart's health is an issue. Very limited role for the Canadians in the Olympics. And he had a very prominent role, like I said, in the Four Nations face-off. So what is going on with Sam Reinhart? And now we get to Matthew Tkachuk. Did the Florida Panthers bring him back a little bit premature in terms of he said he wanted to come back being 100% so he could help the team and there wouldn't be anything holding him back from being the player that we know he is? In the Four Nations, he had some great plays. I still think he wasn't as physical as he normally is. I mean, we saw his brother beating the crap out of guys, but Matthew was chirping like he normally does, but I just didn't see the physicality that he usually has. He had some great passes. Obviously, the first goal of the Olympics for the United States, his pass to Brady Tkachuk, was awesome, but questions still remain. He didn't look like the same player that we have seen in past seasons with the Cats. Last year, the year before. I mean, even when he was playing on one leg, it seems like he was a little bit more cautious on the ice because that injury that he had surgery on is still kind of nagging him. It might not be 100%. So, a little worried, yes. But the way that I see this is maybe we look at this with a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. And we could say, all right, if they shut down players for the rest of the season, they say, you know what? We're out of this thing, but I don't think they're going to shut them down right away as soon as this game in Toronto happens. I think guys are going to get shut down in these first 5 games if we are unable to at least probably win 4 out of these first 5 games or 3 out of these first 5 and try to stay in that 5 points out of the wild card. If it gets any higher than the 8 points that we're currently at, I don't think they're going to try to make a wild card run. I think they're just going to say, look, let's just get our team healthy for next season. This year's a wash. It is not going to work. We're not healthy. It's not worth risking all of our guys getting re-injured. Barkov is not going to be able to come back. It's not worth it to take an injury-riddled team, guys playing hurt, into the playoffs against other teams that are healthy. Now, no team is 100% healthy. We all know that. But the Florida Panthers are one of the major exceptions to the fact that, man, every team has injuries, but I don't think teams are out there having as many guys on LTIR that have required surgery this season than the Florida Panthers. People are like, oh, the Lightning. Yeah, your guys, a lot of them didn't require surgery. They had an injury. They had to rest for a bit. Yeah, they were on IR, LTIR for a bit, but they didn't require surgery. Our guys did. How many? I think it was 6 guys. 7 required surgery. And Seth Jones, huge question there. But again, light at the end of the tunnel. If we end up shelving guys and we just call this season a wash, we're going to be big movers before the trade deadline, which means we could get draft capital. That top 10 protected pick, maybe you get 2 top 10 picks, or 2 first-round picks, I should say. You get your top 10, and then another one in the first round, you try to get younger. What that does is you add draft capital, build for the future, lower costs for those players that you bring into the organization. You get a guy you could bring in your third line, you get or fourth line, and you bring in another guy that could go on your third defensive pairing. You build for the future a little bit, and the costs go down to keep these players because they're rookies. Yeah, if they're really high-end rookies, yeah, you're still going to pay them, but it's not going to be like you're paying a guy $7 million a year. So this could be a little light at the end of the tunnel. Maybe we end up getting some immaculate player via trade who's in his last year of his contract. Again, it frees up space and opens the door for a Connor Murphy or even a Justin Falk. You bring him in and say, guy, we will pay you well to stay here for X amount of seasons. I don't see why they wouldn't pull the trigger on something like that. But the hard part here is having to stomach the fact that Brad Marchand might need surgery. We obviously don't know what exactly the injuries are. It says that there are 2 that he has been dealing with this season. I have a feeling something going on with that lower body. Maybe it's the knee, or maybe it's that hip again. Who knows? I'm sure we will find out in the next 2 or 3 days. Especially on Thursday. If he's not in the lineup, I'm sure we will get some sort of an update from the Florida Panthers. But again, with all of these outlets coming out saying things, with all these insiders saying, oh, we believe a lot of Panthers players are playing hurt, are they going to get shelved? Brad Marchand is injured, not hurt, and he's going to need off-season surgery. I mean, these are not things that are speculation. There is something going on here, and we're going to find out. And as soon as we do, I will report it to you guys. But yeah, bad news for the Cats. A little light at the end of the tunnel would be being able to try to make some trades, get some draft capital, maybe bring in a big name. If somebody does go on LTIR, or multiple players do, you shelve them for the season if they need surgery, whatever the hell it is. We can actually get some draft capital, maybe improve our roster a little bit for next year. And yeah, you let the salary cap genius in Bill Zito do his thing, and we see where it goes. But that's it for this episode, guys. Sorry for the bad news. If anything else breaks in terms of exactly what's going on with all these guys, I will bring it to you. Have another episode coming out later talking about different scenarios in terms of working on trades, capital, draft capital, all that stuff will be coming up, as well as a few other things as they are breaking for the Florida Panthers and they get back to action on Thursday. So anyways, guys, thank you all so much again. I'll be in touch. Go Cats.